Good morning, everybody. It is a little bit before 7:30 a.m. here on a Tuesday, back at the 200-meter track at Prairie Grove Elementary. Today I'm in week 3 of my 5K training. Today's workout is going to be 4 times 200 meters at mile race pace with equal recovery jog, 4 times 400 meters, same pace, same recovery, and then 4 times 200 meters again to round out the workout. I'm gonna start out the workout in the Pegasus 39 and I'll finish it up in the spikes. But first, let's finish up this warm up, do some drills, and then we'll get started. 200's done. I'll come in 38 and change. Feeling good about that. Next, we do the 400s. Try to get at least a couple of them done before I switch over to spikes. All right, 120, last one. Let's put on some spikes. That last one, not great. Not great. Whew. But the 4s are done. It's the important part. Just 4 more 2s. I can do that. Just some long strides, that's it.
Now that we're back at the house and all cleaned up, let's take a look at the data in the Coros hub. We see the 4 200s, the 4 400s down here in the center, and then another 4 200s. And from like a broad zoomed out view, it does look like I'm hitting the same or similar paces for all of the reps today, which was the intent. So kind of looks so far so good, but I could take a look at each individual rep as well. So it looks like for the 4 200s, I'm coming in at 39 seconds, 39 seconds, 39 seconds, and 39 seconds. So right on the dot for what I'm looking for. I'm looking for hitting anywhere between 38 and 40 seconds for these 200s. What's interesting is that the power number is fluctuating pretty wildly between these 4. Normally for this kind of effort, I would expect power to be above about 300 watts if I'm using the Stride foot pod. I'm using wrist-based power from the Coros Vertex 2. I'm seeing some real strange deviations, and I'm wondering if it's because this watch doesn't really sit on my wrist properly, kind of flings around, and it is pretty heavy. So I find myself like kind of sliding with, playing with it during my runs. And I'm thinking that's where like the really big power deviations are coming from, because I feel like I'm putting about the same effort out. These first 4 200s were with the Nike Pegasus. All right, let me deselect those real quick, and then we'll go to the 400s. So the 400s were pretty similar as well. We're coming in at 121, which I'm looking for about a minute 16 to a minute 20 if we're doing that same like 38 to 40 range. And these are 400s, they're a little bit longer, they're a little bit harder for me to maintain at that effort. So really I'm looking for right around 120 or 80 seconds for the 400, and I'm hitting 121, 119, 120, and 122. That last one, the 122, is kind of like surprisingly, that's the one where I put on the spikes, but I was also kind of the most tired by that time. So that may explain explain the difference in the time. But the power numbers for at least the 400s that I was using with the pegs, those power numbers are about what I would expect: 297, 304, 304 watts. And then the slower one came in at 285 watts in the spikes. Now, again, that power number is coming from a wrist, not from a shoe or from a foot pod. So I wouldn't expect the difference in shoe to really attribute for that difference. Again, not really sure why I'm getting such a variation there, but I feel like probably the effort level is definitely there. So it should be somewhat similar, but it is slower. So it makes sense that it's a little bit less of a number. Now, the last 400s I did in the spikes, and those came in at, let's see, 38, 37, 38, and 40. So the last 4 were the fastest of all the reps that I did today. And the power numbers are, again, like a little bit lower than kind of what I would expect. But those times and power numbers aside, overall, what I want to talk about a little bit more was how I'm feeling. I'm 3 weeks in. I think this is my 4th session now. So by now, like some of the early work that I was doing, my body should have had time to adapt to it. And so I do feel like I am getting stronger and able to do this workout a lot more easily. This workout felt daunting when I was kind of like doing my warm-up, and when I was in the middle of those 400s, it felt like it was a really big workout. But by the time the 400s were done, I felt like, wow, this workout's over like really fast. And so I think part of that is the difference between, I'm used to marathon workouts versus 5K workouts. What makes each kind of workout difficult is different. The marathon workouts, they're difficult because there's so much to do, and the 5K workouts are difficult because there's such speed that you have to hit. So I'm starting to kind of like get a handle on those differences. And when I'm doing those mile pace repeats, I'm not feeling quite so like alarmed, like the red flags aren't going off, like alarm sirens aren't going off in my head. So I feel like the bigger part than me physically being able to handle these workouts is that I am like mentally able to kind of let everything slow down a little bit. Everything felt like it was happening in such fast motion. Things are like kind of slowing down, not quite in slow motion yet, but things are slowing down like mentally and experientially. And I feel like I can kind of focus on what I'm trying to do and actually get the work in. So that's where I feel like I'm having like the best breakthroughs. Also being able to do that workout on the track with Connor when I was in San Luis Obispo also really helped too, because again, when you're getting paced by someone and like you're working hard and you look over and they're like hardly even breathing heavy, I feel like it calms your own mind and lets you focus on the work rather than like how difficult it feels like the workout might be. So I think those are some things that have really been helping. Just some experience and getting paced by another person has been really helpful as well. So I'm feeling really good about the progress so far. But the thing is, I don't have a lot more time. I do have the Chicago Marathon that I have to get ready for, and that's coming up in less than 2 months. And I still want to kind of put in a little bit more work for this 5K. I've figured out which 5K I'm going to do. I'm going to do the Itasca Oktoberfast 5K, which happens in early September. So the date is September 10th. It's in Itasca, Illinois. It's a suburb that's kind of like halfway between here and downtown Chicago, at least distance-wise. So it shouldn't be too hard for me to get there. And it's a pretty fast race. There seems to be a lot of turns when I look at the course on the map, but it seems like a lot of fast runners go there. The course record for the route is in the 15s for men and just under 17 for women. So there'll be plenty of fast runners that I can hopefully pace off of and run with to hit my goal of somewhere in the mid 18s. So like, I think that on marathon legs, I can probably run something in the high 18s, like just under 19. 19 flat is my current 5K PB. I'd like to get that down by quite a bit. If I can get in those mid 18s, I think that's gonna feel right. And I'm gonna give myself about 3 more weeks and then kind of like an easy week to kind of taper just a little bit before that 5K. So I'm about halfway through, I guess, in terms of my training. So far, all the work has been mostly mile race pace with a couple of threshold repetitions also in there, some threshold miles. I think going forward, I'm going to kind of fast forward in the Jack Daniels running formula 5K plan. So I'll be doing a lot more work, longer reps, but at race pace, while still I'll have those mile pace repetitions as well, and some threshold miles thrown in there too. So kind of like working both ends of the spectrum, but kind of narrowing in and honing in on some race specific work, which I think is really important if you want to execute a race well. So I'm really looking forward to the next few weeks. Thanks so much for following along so far. If you're going to be in the area and want to join me at the race in Itasca, there's plenty of registrations available. It's not that expensive of a race. If you want to come hang out afterwards, there's beers and brats, I think. So, I mean, it's an Itasca Oktoberfest. So, should be a fun time to hang out a little bit afterwards as well. So if any of you guys want to join, I'll be hanging out for a little bit after the race as well. So that's kind of where I'm at so far and the plan for where I'm going. If you have any questions about that, feel free to put them in the comments down below, or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. I'd love to talk to you guys in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs and during your workouts, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?